Hi, and welcome to The Perfect Show. I'm your host, Scott Maupin. I'm what you might call a perfection prospector, sifting through life looking for little things or experiences that could be considered perfect. Join me each episode as I examine one topic that I'm presenting as a little nugget of perfection. Hello again, it's Scott. Long time no talk. It's been over 2 years since the last episode, and I just sort of disappeared with no real explanation, which I guess sets me up perfectly again for my all-time favorite drop.
Have an announcement.
That's right, I'm back with a new season of The Perfect Show. I'll talk a little bit about what happened during my time away, and also thought this would be a great excuse to go back through the old episodes and add any updates or developments that have happened since they came out. So first, about me, I've had a lot of things change both personally and professionally. I'll dive into some things here, and I'll save some for later episodes. I was still making podcasts during my hiatus from the show, just a different variety than this one. I made about 100 episodes of a weekly show called Solutions from the Multiverse with my co-host Adam Brous. I also, during the break, spent a year teaching high school, like as a real teacher, which was fun. I got to do a little podcasting with the kids after school and introduce them to the process too. And then I got a second job with a podcasting company, making podcasts with professors and producing episodes for them. A second job which has since become my main job, so hooray. Let's see, what else? Well, I live in a new place. I have 2 new cats who I'm sure will barge their way onto the mic, and I'll have to introduce them at some point or another. I've had a car stolen via TikTok trend. I illustrated a book with my dad. He's so excited about it that he's already plotted out the next 25 books in the series. No lie, it's great. But back to my task of updating you on old episodes of the podcast. And, well, what better way to do that than by heading down and taking a stroll through the Perfectorium itself? That's right, the real Perfectorium. The Index of Perfect Things. So in previous episodes, I always end by saying that the item or experience is now entered into the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. And there is a page on the podcast website cataloging these items, which you can find at perfectshowpodcast.com/perfectorium, spelled like it sounds, of course. But that's just an online catalog of the contents of a physical location, where I keep the physical assets for the web pages. The brick and mortar Perfectorium. It's actually a real place where I can go and visit each exhibit from the show. A fortress of perfectude, if you will. Oh, what's that? You won't? Okay, I guess that's fair. So the Perfectorium is pretty important. As the world's only catalog of perfect things, it holds a certain place in the effort to preserve the best of humanity for the future. Like, most important is the human seed vault thing in Norway, but the Perfectorium ranks a close second, is my understanding. So, it's located a classified distance beneath the Earth's surface. That's why it's down here at the bottom of so many steps. And sci-fi elevators. And other sound effects that I was able to find. And now the one and only Perfectorium, safely tucked away on the other side of this hermetic seal. Just gotta grab the wheel and turn this like an old submarine door. Ooh. There. All right. So, we'll go through the episodes one by one and talk about the show a little bit in the process. Episode 1 was the animated short film Billy's Balloon by Don Hertzfeld. So I sit here, humbled, hiding, and recording the first episode of this show, while others slide down large, wet plastic tubes and do other awesome, fun summer things. And With that, Billy's Balloon takes its slot as the first item entered into the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. No updates for this film, but he has a new one that just came out this past May of 2024 titled Me, and it's touring different cities and theaters now, so you can find the schedule and all that stuff on Don's website, bitterfilms.com. Episode 2 was my year with MoviePass.
Yeah,
In no time, I had the whole thing memorized, but there was one part I remembered the best.
Jalapeno. Wow, that's hot dog. Wow, that's hot dog. Hot dog.
I don't know if it was something about that transition or if I just like hot dogs, but forget the 9 announcements for me to put my phone away.
Jalapeno. Wow, that's hot dog.
That was the signal for me that the movie was about to begin. And with that, my year of MoviePass goes up on the shelf as the second item in the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. I made this when it was a fully dead thing and I was reminiscing about it, but it since came back and I think died again. I'm not sure, but I actually got a MoviePass membership again during part of that briefly. It was a point system and way more complicated to me and less generous, so I ended up stopping that membership again. But I have joined the AMC A list and I have been super happy with it for the past year plus. So it might honestly, it might be my favorite subscription of all the different things I pay for, like streaming services and whatnot. Just recently, however, like last month, the founder of MoviePass, Ted Farnsworth, has formally pled guilty of defrauding investors. So I guess things are starting to catch up for some of the people. Episode 3 was Baseball on the Radio. In a world where the pace of everything seems to be increasing all the time, it's nice to go back to a thing that feels exactly the same as it did when I was a kid. The same as when my dad was a kid. To me, it's just perfect. And with that, Baseball on the Radio becomes the third entry into the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. The only update I wanted to put here was that I saw that in 2022, Vince Scully, the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers, passed away, and there was an enormous outpouring of touching messages about how much his voice meant to people. And it was really cool to hear other people express sort of similar feelings about hearing baseball called over the radio as I did. Episode 4 was A Perfect Road.
So, like, it just became a pure sort of vanishing point. There was, like, a road to maybe, if not quite nowhere, just, like, it would just unfurl forever, perhaps.
Yeah.
An infinite road.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm very happy. I'm happy with how that worked out. Okay. And with that, the K10 to I-435 North interchange becomes the fourth item in the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. Also, no real update here, as I've not been back to Kansas since I made it, so that means it's lying there, just a perfect stretch of road, sitting there waiting patiently for lucky drivers to happen upon it and discover it for themselves. Episode 5 was my haunted house song. I brag to my date how I don't get scared. She doesn't know it's only cause I'm so prepared. All seem pretty macho as I'm unfazed by the horror, but it's just because I took the time to see it all before her. Then a new... My famous haunted house song, which I regret to inform you, and you will be surprised to learn, has not become a modern Halloween classic quite yet. Still in the 100 of views, but that's okay. I know it'll catch fire one of these days and blow up big. I just got to be patient. Okay, episode 6 was my Princess Mononoke and Miyazaki episode, and I've since seen his most recent film, The Boy and the Heron, but Mononoke still is my top. Oh, hello. Do you hear that? That's a deer that I'm about 30 feet away from, maybe. I'm sorry. I just snuck up on that guy, girl. Let's see if I can get a picture. I didn't recognize it fully at the time, but the forest was providing me with the most Mononoke ending I could have asked for. Oh, you hear that? That is the deer walking away. All right. Cool. Cool seeing you. All right. And with that, Mononoke Hime, the Princess Mononoke, becomes the next item entered in the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. Hot take, at the risk of opening up a whole can of worms, I may not be a total Miyazaki guy, I realize, as I get older. Like, the more I see, the more I am like, "Meh, I don't know." There are a few of his that are top tier for me. Those are Princess Mononoke and My Neighbor Totoro. But most of the others I'm realizing rate for me just much lower overall. Okay, I'll stop that. You can send hate mail to me too, but you'll have to find the contact info yourself. I'm not plugging it again here just so you can get into a Miyazaki off with me. Episode 7 was the episode on tiny tents.
This is gonna look so weird.
What is?
The microphones. And that we're tied together.
We just have to kind of walk and be not sneaky.
I know, but it looks so weird in this. It's gonna look weird in public, which
It's
is
not
what
gonna-
I'm worried about.
It's not going to be that bad.
Yes, it is.
Well, we'll give it a test out in the parking lot and see what you think. You're worried about the microphones, though, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they're tiny microphones. I know how to hide
No,
these.
I'm not worried about the microphones. I'm worried about the cord.
Yeah, we put it like underneath our clothes and then nobody sees it.
That's too weird.
And with that, those tiny display tents in stores become the next entry into the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. And after I made this episode, I got connected with a company called Cat Camp that also makes miniature-sized tents, but one specifically for cats. So now I have two tiny tents, the original yellow one from Tiny Tents, and now this new red Cat Camp tent. I gotta say, they are both cool, but the Cat Camp one has a bigger doorway and a fuzzy floor inside. So it just seems like it's made especially for cats to enjoy, which is because it is, but it's absolutely excellent. Both tents currently reside in the catio I made for my cats last year, which is a big outdoor enclosure I built out of wood and wire and fencing, and then put a bunch of shelves and platforms on the walls for them to climb around on. So then episode 8 was the 10 yen arcade.
Oh, there's like a menu and stuff?
I don't know, that's what it says.
Neo Geo Multi-Video System NSK.
Metal Slug, Bomber. Are you kidding me?
Let's do it.
Bomberman?
They
Hold
got
on a second,
Bomberman.
I want to see what else is here. Dude, if Bomberman's on here, that's like the holy grail for me.
And with that, the 10 yen arcade in Japan becomes the next entry into the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. And if you liked this topic space, we will be headed back to spend some more time in the world of Japanese arcades next episode. I'd also retroactively designate this as the first episode of season 2, where I feel like I really leveled up the complexity of the episodes both technically and thematically. Episode 9 was my exploration of multi-language songs and singers who sing their songs in more than one language. And with that, songs sung by the same singer in different languages become the next. Huh. That's weird. And with that, songs sung by the same singer in a different language, that type of song becomes the next entry into the Perfectorium, the Index of Perfect Things. Even after this episode came out, it sent me down a rabbit hole of K-pop that I still haven't fully climbed out of yet. I discovered that Boa, who I talked about a lot on that episode, is part of a K-pop supergroup called Girls on Top, and then I went down a whole search spiral of the different bands from the various members like aespa and Red Velvet and Girls' Generation, and then learned all sorts of things about how bands like Blackpink and Red Velvet actually do put out their songs and albums, at least sometimes, in Japanese and also English versions. And guess what? I like a lot of them. So if you're in my car and you ask to listen to K-pop on the drive, I got you. I might be a little dated though. That K-pop world moves very fast, and I'm discovering it's easy to fall behind, but I'm trying. All right, episode 10 was the compliment call-in. Yeah, the gauntlet has been laid. Lied. I have lied down the gauntlet. Laid. Gauntlet Lane. Nothing new there other than I think there isn't need for a call-in message line anymore. I mean,